office, Richie. Do you mind taking a quick seat for a second? There's something I need to talk to you about.
Sure, no worries, Office Farley. I've always got time for you.
Great. Have a seat in this chair in the office that we're definitely both in.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, we can hear office noise, so it's definitely in an office.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm sitting, I can see a computer, a whiteboard. These are all definitely office things that I couldn't have made
Open
up. Top of my head.
plan and
Yeah,
tables and
Yeah.
lots of light and yeah.
Actually, whilst we're here, we do a quick eye test. Can you read what's written on the whiteboard? Just, all the details of the socials on the website, but just from this distance. Can you see that?
Yes, I am a little bit annoyed that you have drawn a cock as well, but there we go. I would say it says, give me a second, www.thatguys.co.uk. That's the blog, and that's an @ symbol.
Yeah.
And that guy's a maniac. It seems to be all one word in lowercase. And then you've done the little symbol, so it's just really cool. You've done a little Twitter symbol, a YouTube symbol, Facebook symbol.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. And an Instagram one. Nice
Okay.
nice work. Cool.
Great. Yeah, well done. You've passed that. It wasn't really a test. It was just a impromptu thing. Now, the reason I've called you in, Office Rich, is because we've had some complaints from some of your workmates. They say that this week you've been going around talking about something to do with quiz. We're going to do a big quiz. I'm really excited for some quiz, and we just thought that kind of language was inappropriate.
Okay, maybe it's an accent thing, but the way...
Can't wait to get stuck into this bunch of quiz.
I mean, that doesn't even work. But yes, QUIZ. Just to very, very quickly clarify any misunderstanding that may have happened there. Nor am I an advocate of any kind of gender slurs in any fashion.
Okay, well that clears that up. But in fact, I think you've now got a counter case because obviously your colleagues have been discriminating against your ethnic background.
Yes, clearly. But you know what? I'm the bigger man in many ways.
Let's crack on with the quiz.
Sure, let's crack on with the quiz. Quiz.
Thank God for that.
Alright, yeah, not too bad.
That was alright.
Yeah. Is this the new thing where we just sort of like score how bad our initial skit was?
We now do a bad intro where we don't even mention that we're a video game podcast anymore, and then we have a little bit in between where we review the intro that we literally just made up, and then we move on to the meat.
The meat, the bulk, the actual dross.
We move from the
flavour to the dross. Yeah.
This week soup starter, and then some horrible
chocolate log on a plate.
Yeah. And then the main just wasn't worth going through those two things.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We're doing part 2 of the big quiz.
This is like 4.
Part 4. Okay.
6,
I can't remember if there was
maybe.
a premise for the quiz, whether it was a...
It's not even a quiz, it's a Q&A. I don't understand why we call it a quiz.
Well, there's right answers and there's wrong answers.
Oh yeah, that's true. But it's very opinion. I mean, I would call it a Q&A more. It's like, I don't know.
It's
We've
more like
gone 3 episodes and it's already been a quiz, so I don't know
like
why I'm bringing it up at this point.
Like one of those magazine quizzes about how compatible are you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's what it all based on. Like we did a podcast in season 1, which was your compatibility quiz.
Yeah, bear with me.
I'm bearing with you as you.
Time.
I'm. Yeah.
I think we did a number. It was a Pokemon compatibility quiz.
Yeah. I think that was
episode 13.
Yeah, it was quite early on. Yeah.
Season 1. That was good.
And that's what all these ones are just based off of.
Yeah. So, the premise, should you be jumping in at this episode and are completely lost, then what we did last time
well done in lasting this long into the podcast. Yeah.
I mean, don't waste your time if you've got this far. We have a bunch of this or this questions that we postulate to each other, then answer ourselves to explore more of our gaming tastes, preferences, and I don't know, opinions.
Yeah, but it also begs us to ask the questions of ourselves. Maybe we haven't thought in great depth about these things, and then it just sort of it opens up a little part of yourself that you maybe haven't really considered before. Yeah,
and if you fancy choosing one or the other, let us know through social media. Get it off your chest into our chests. I'm not too sure.
I don't like that metaphor at all.
So without further, do you know what really annoys me when people say without further ado? Is it because it's not a Jew, is it? It's a do.
No, it's a Jew. D-U-E.
Oh, God, I think it's not. It's just a do. A-D-O.
Oh, yeah, but it's taken from the French. And it's anglified, so it's adieu.
I don't think it is, because adieu, doesn't that just mean goodbye?
Huh. Without any further... you know what? I've never really thought about that at all.
Yeah, it's a do. It's not a Jew. It's goodbye. Maybe it is. Who cares? Anyway, it really annoys me when people say the opposite one to the one that I think is right.
Yeah.
When I decide what
which
one
was
that is.
you. Literally 30 seconds ago, it was you.
No, do you know what it was? I saw somebody say something about this online the other day, and it's he can spot people who are on Twitter a lot because they preemptively come up with a counter argument to an argument that nobody's making because they're online so much. And that was me thinking, oh God, I don't know which one it is. I know what, I'll slag off both of them and myself at the same time. Therefore, I can't be wrong because I've humiliated myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've covered all of your bases.
Exactly. Exactly. Can't look down on me if I don't look up to myself.
Yeah, that's a good ethos for life. I follow it to the letter, to be honest.
Now, before we start, there's a bit of breaking news, which will make no sense when this episode comes out. I hear you're a fan of consuming media.
Yes, media, tasty.
Yeah, consumption. Twisted Metal TV series?
Oh yeah, there was a movie, then it got a Netflix thing, and yeah, I heard about it. When's it due?
Well, apparently there's a new game coming up. Because at first, as I've complained about a lot on the podcast, is, here's a media adaptation, stone cold off the heels of a game that was released 14 years ago that nobody will remember by the time it comes out. But apparently there's a new game.
Yeah,
so it sort of ties in.
I saw that. What's it called? I think I got the news through somebody is playing Sweet Tooth or something like that. And
yeah.
I can't remember even who it was, but it was like, oh, that's a thing.
There you go.
But yeah, like it needs to make its way back onto my radar again. I think you have been the person to do that. But yeah, until it actually comes out, I'm not exactly, subscribing and following. I'm just waiting for it to come out,
Just following the Twisted Metal social media account that hasn't put anything out for the last 12 years.
They're probably not even sure that it's coming out,
Yeah. But yeah, as the only person I know who the only person I know who's a Twisted Metal fan, I thought of you when I heard that earlier.
I told you I went back and played Twisted Metal, the PS1 version.
No, the original one.
Yeah, no, World Tour. World Tour was, that was my entry into the season, into the series. Series, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Media consumption, and I went back and played it, and it does kind of stand the test of time.
Oh,
Awful graphics. but I think it needs co-op, and I think that's what makes it more fun. Actually, having a buddy to help you get through the god awful difficulty of that game. You know?
Could you co-op the story mode?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Or was it just a bunch of arenas rather than...
It's just arenas, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, the story mode is, I think, whoever was player 1, you get the cutscenes for them. Player 2 just doesn't get any.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
I mean, it's fair, and like if you want to do it with a different character, you do it with a different character. But I think playing it single player makes it very, very, very hard because it's like 9 other people versus you.
Could you do the thing that you could do with some of those arena driving games, which is just try and avoid everybody else for as long as possible?
Yes.
And they'll fuck each other up, and then
that is exactly how you get through that game. And that's the weird thing; it's ingrained in me because what I basically did was remembered my hiding spots where I would snipe people.
Oh, I remember you saying, yeah.
Just like you have to try and jump and find yourself in sort of like a duct, and then you sort of poke your head out, and you would just crap yourself when you see Sweet Tooth going by or Minion, and you're like, oh my god. And like, I mean, you didn't care about Mr. Grimm, the stupid motorcycle guy, or girl. Was that the big reveal? They did a Samus on you.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Because then there was Twisted Metal Black, right?
Yeah. Which is...
So...
Yeah. Sorry. Quiz, eh?
Yeah. Do you want to start, or shall I?
Well, you start. I have prepared nothing. This is all you.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I believe the format is. You ask me something. Yeah, and then next time I'll ask you something.
Okay, I thought we alternated. Well, good job. I'm unprepared.
Good, because I am not.
Dante or Virgil?
Dante. I mean, there's no contest around that at all.
What about in Devil May Cry 3 when they're fighting in the rain and Virgil puts his hand through his hair and his hair goes a bit spiky? That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's quite funky. Just to sort of differentiate the two.
yeah. He's got a cool sword.
Well, when you first said Dante or Virgil, I actually thought you meant
about
playing as.
Take it as you want it.
Yeah. So like, a lot of people were quite excited by the concept of having Virgil in a few of these games. I'm not like I can't remember which one it was. I'm gonna say 4. Was it DLC for 4 or something?
Was that the first time he was playable in a Devil May Cry game?
I think technically yes, and he had this the devil trigger with the Emoto, and he would have the sort of the big anyway, like I always associate it with very, very edgelordy people. Now I know that Dante is, I mean, Devil May Cry as a series is already quite edgelordy and stuff like that, but I always feel like Virgil is the emo non-fun one, which everybody wants to go, and it's just like, okay, so he's a bit of an anti-hero, but he's also rubbish and evil.
I think Dante is like your hanging around a shopping centre emo, and Virgil is like the same but with a bit of money. You know what I mean?
Virgil's the same, but you worry about him that he might, have a gun at home. That kind of emo.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's got the much fancier coat and the much nicer sword, whereas Dante's kind of, sword's a bit shitty and he's grubbing around in.
Yeah, I mean, he gets his sword by somebody ramming it through his chest and him pulling it out.
Yeah.
He's also
dirty.
quippy.
Dante's really dirty. Like his house is a shithole.
Yeah, and of course, the pizza boxes and stuff like that. Yeah. And he's quippy, and he's I think he's having a bit of fun with it, like the stupid dancing with the rose and stuff like that. Whereas Virgil's just like, oh no, I've got to be serious. I'm a demon. I'm going to take over the world. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah. And you know that
so
Dante's home
yeah.
looks like the flat from American Psycho.
Dante's?
Yeah. Virgil's home.
Virgil's. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
all white.
Yeah.
Sterile.
Completely. And, and I mean, the other thing that's really sort of rubbish about him as well is like his character in Devil May Cry 1, Neo Angelo, is sort of like that is Virgil giving himself completely into the Devil Trigger, and yet he was just a sub boss, very easily defeated by Dante, and I never ever forget that that's how rubbish Virgil is in any of the series.
Did they show you that in the game? Or is it something that is retconned?
What, Neo Angelo?
Yeah, that he's Virgil.
No, he had the other half of the amulet.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's like you work that out during the game. Like, oh, that must have been my brother then. Oh, well. And then his brother turns up in 3.
Yeah.
And then I think you get the precursor to him becoming Neo Angelo and meeting Mundus and stuff like that. Because 3 is a prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still my favourite. They're both playable in Marvel vs. Capcom now, right?
Are they? Oh!
Yeah.
Is that Infinite or...
Before the weird, realistic-y looking one.
Before the weird, realistic-y looking one.
I think 3.
That's Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
No. 3's the really good cartoony one, and then 4's the one...
There isn't a 4, there's an Infinite. There's 3,
4.
and then there's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, not 3, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I only remember Dante from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But I mean, again, that was a terrible game, and I wouldn't choose to play Virgil.
Sure? I thought that was really good.
No, 3 was awful.
Infinite was awful.
Infinite was awful as well. Infinite, they changed the moves. Now, 3 was the one where they it was completely esports, zero story.
Yeah,
yes.
But it had a cool roster.
It had a reasonably cool roster, yeah. But no, it wasn't very good. And then they came out with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and this is the one that I was telling you. It's like, it's got a full story that I actually want to play, and it sounds cool. But the first thing I did was try to do moves, and it was like, why have you changed these buttons? So they've turned, I think all the buttons are just like, it's a 2-button fighter. Kick and punch, and that is it. Okay. So yeah, I still, I mean, I might come back to it at some point, but Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, I like the idea of it. There's some cool, multiverse shenanigans going on. So the bad guy from what's it called, Mega Man Sigma, merges with Ultron. So that's the big evil bad guy in it.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just quite funky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was DLC.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think he's... Because
It's got very DLC energy.
Well, no, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the only DLC they had was Jill and Shumagora.
No, they didn't add loads.
Nah. They had Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which included it, but no.
I'm not really including those as a separate game.
Nah, it's like... Yeah, no, they only had one done as DLC, I think. I see. Yeah, okay, this isn't a fun game.
Yeah, I think it is. What was the DLC from it? 12-year-old.
Yeah.
12-year-old. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of 2 Worlds had a bunch of purchased content.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was costumes and stuff like that, but actual characters, it was just Jill and Shumagorath. I'm pretty sure.
Oh God, this question is so difficult to work out the answer to because
If there's any consolation, I've just looked it up, and yes, Virgil is a character by himself.
yeah,
so, yeah, we got there.
There was loads. Oh my God, there's loads of DLC.
Yeah, it's all costumes though.
Okay. Was Virgil a costume? No.
No, Virgil has the Neo Angelo costume.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I Dante easily. I've not.
I know.
I played 4 up until. Was I playing with you? And there's a really stupid bit early on in 4 where you have to swing over a pit of spikes.
yes, you were.
A screen change halfway in between.
Yes.
And I just kept falling off, and then that was it. I never went back.
Yeah, but that's playing as Nero, and you have to grab the spheres, the sphere, and then you've got to do it within a certain amount of time, and then you fall down, and then you have to go back up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to fight something, and then you're back up at the top, and then you have to do the sphere jump. Yeah, I know exactly the place
and
you're at as well.
They've got a perspective switch right in the middle of when you're swinging, and then that was it.
Yeah. So you never played as Dante in that one?
No, never played back for as Dante. And then
Dante was quite a good character. He had the Pandora's box weapon was cool to play with. It's like the lady's bazooka thing, except it's got loads of different functions, and he gets into like this flying bubble and stuff like that. Really odd, fun stuff. It's quite cool.
Yeah, and then I didn't touch. I watched 5, and I heard your stories. I did like it, I think.
No, I liked 5, and I suppose that's the only redeeming thing that I would say for Virgil was V was an awesome character. Really good concept.
Was an awesome character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed playing as V any chance I could. I even found Nero more fun to play, and Devil May Cry 5. I think, like, if you just play through it, it's not a hard game. It's just don't play it with the intent of going to Dante Must Die mode or something like that. It's really fun to play through, and the additional characters, and I forget what her name was, with the freckles and the buck teeth.
Yeah,
and
the glasses lady.
Yeah, glasses lady. And having her back, and then of course Trish and Lady being back, the whole gang being back together. You know, it's like awesome.
It was a bit like the Scooby-Doo, particularly because they had a mystery van as well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
mystery machine. Sorry.
Yep.
Do we talk about DMC or no?
No, we don't talk about DMC. Mainly because also I own it, but I haven't played it. It's one of these packs where you could get everything from a humble bundle, and I thought, oh, okay, one day I might play it. In fact, that's a lie. I played it for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I watched the intro, watched the start, and I'm like, it's just. I mean, I thought I could get this fun from any action game, but this one's already putting me off by it trying to reboot the series. So I was just thinking, like, you know what? I never completed Darkstalkers. I'll go and play that instead. You know, it's like that sort of shit. You know, or Bayonetta. Like, I just need to buy that game, man.
Yeah,
I do.
You do.
Well, I mean, we were talking about Nintendo sales over Christmas, and I had a look. Thought, oh, is Bayonetta in there? No, it's not. No. Oh.
Same.
Yeah.
Next one.
Okay, go. Hit me.
I don't know. I don't even have a genuine answer for either of these, so we'll see. Call of Duty or Battlefield? Have you played either?
I think Is Rainbow Six one of them?
No.
No.
I didn't know if this is one of the. Occasionally you have these secret games that you play without telling me, like I don't know, your watcher or something. And I was like, maybe he has a secret, Battlefield campaign in his back pocket. Oh yeah, I play all the Battlefield games when they come out straight away. Absolutely love them. My favourite by far.
No, I'm like, when it comes to first-person shooters, I don't know. What was the last first-person shooter? Oh, Borderlands, if that counts.
Yeah, that counts.
And I don't know, Fallout / Elder Scrolls.
Less so.
I mean, if I use a bow and arrow, and I do actually shoot in Fallout.
Are you using VATS or not?
Always using VATS.
And then that doesn't count.
Okay. Right. Yeah, Borderlands. Probably the last one I played. And no, I don't think I can register that I've ever played any Call of Duties. Battlefield. They're the ones that do the Star Wars one, or is that Battlefront? Or
That's Battlefront.
Is that the same thing, or?
Until you put those things together, I was fairly confident that they're completely different things, but now I'm not so sure. I think they're completely different things.
Okay, cool. Alright, okay. So this is a very, very hard question because basically my answer is I haven't played either. I'm gonna say Battlefront because it comes
Battlefield
because it comes first in the alphabet before Call of Duty.
Nicely done. Yeah, I've not been in touch with these games for a long time. I remember back in my day, it wasn't Call of Duty versus Battlefield. I'm not even sure if those two things are the contending games with each other anymore. But it was Medal of Honor and Call of Duty that were in contention.
Medal of Honor? Wow,
yeah,
okay.
Call of Duty started as a World War II type sim.
Yeah. And then there was Modern Warfare.
Yeah, and then they went Modern Warfare, and then kind of Medal of Honor died it there.
And then there was Call of Duty Zombies as well. They've got like zombie campaigns, don't they?
Yeah, that kind of became a whole spin-off expansion type DLC thing, and then I don't really know where they are now. I've lost track of how many there are, but then it became more of a you play for the online, and then the amazing storyline, but just some ridiculous thing where you're falling off skyscrapers and they're exploding. And...
yeah, I mean it's all squad-based shooty things, which you can find for like I don't know. You can jump into any of these free shooters and do exactly the same thing. I feel.
Yeah. I think you just had a good player base, and then then they all went icky with loot boxes. I think.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm not interested at all. No. Yeah, you get the slightly different hint of camo in your loot box, and you're just like, this is the most unremarkable skin you could give me. But there are gun nuts and army nuts out there who are just like, this is amazing. I can't believe I get to have desert camo from 1992. This is like so rare.
It's my favourite. It's my favourite camo. My favourite version of the whatever AK-47 is the Gulf War II version. And I've unlocked the skin, which no one will ever see. And I see a tiny bit of it from my perspective. Anyway, so that was Call of Duty, and then Battlefield, when it first came along, was differentiated itself because it was you'd have a big battlefield with planes and tanks, and then they both kind of merged into each other because now everything's an open world map shootery type thing. Well, I think I'm going to go with Call of Duty as a slight loyalty to its World War II origins. And for a while there's a weird arms race, sort of a literal arms race for who can do the most ridiculous opening to a game. So I think one of the Medal of Honors did storming of Normandy Beach, and then Call of Duty kind of one-ups it with their Stalingrad campaign, I think. I think it was Call of Duty, yeah, where you play as Russian soldiers during the Second World War, and one of you would get given a gun and the other one would get given ammunition. And that's how you kick that game off. So you don't have a weapon whilst you're kind of running into burning Stalingrad, which is really cool. And then Medal of Honor did Pearl Harbor.
But did Call of Duty not do, like, they've got Kevin Spacey in to do all the acting, and they had his voice and facial movements, so they'll be cancelled to hell with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. And then they also did No Russian stuff like that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
Next one.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I don't have much more input.
It's alright. It's alright. That's fine. Battlefront. Call of Duty or Battlefield, which you go for Battlefront.
Yeah, Battlefront, yeah, because it's got Star Wars in it. They're both EA, incidentally, Battlefield and Battlefront, which makes me think that there probably is a similar team in the background.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. It's a spin-off. Is it? But which is the spin-off of which? Is Battlefield a spin-off of Battlefront? Or Battlefront
yeah, I mean, who knows?
Who knows? We'll never know. Next one. Helicopter boss or train level? Both were staples of 90s video games. Helicopter boss is annoying. I don't think a helicopter boss fight is ever fun.
A helicopter boss fight is annoying, yes, absolutely, because you're trying to get and predict the movements and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But train level...
It's just a shooting gallery.
No. If it's timed, which they usually were, was a complete bitch. Yeah. You know, it's just like, you've got to get through... You've got to get through this train before it crashes, and if you don't, you're going to die. But then you also know that they've put a fuck ton of secrets and little things that you get to check each passenger seat for as well. Yeah. No, I know what you mean, shooting gallery, but you've got to keep running and shooting timed.
Yeah.
Whereas with the helicopter boss, it would be predicting the movements, and inevitably at some point you're just using your pistol to try and shoot the goddamn helicopter because you messed up hitting it with the rocket launcher, which would just have taken it down in one hit. Yeah. No,
I think helicopter bosses are getting rarer and rarer, but train levels, you know, there's a train level in, first bit of Resident Evil 0 is a train level. I was doing something on a train the other day. I was playing Siberia.
Oh, okay.
It's Assassin's Creed on a train.
Probably.
You got that? Did you ever play that Zelda that's on a train? Spirit Tracks?
Oh no, I didn't know. But yeah, that was a weird one. I never thought about that.
Yeah, whereas I think helicopter bosses are dying a death.
Yeah.
They're an endangered species.
I think helicopter bosses, in the fashion of it actually being a helicopter, is dying out, but I'm sure that the concept of something flying around and you having to predict its movements is still very much a staple. I mean, that is exactly the same as I don't know, any of the sort of Space Invader style games where you just have to start predicting the enemy's movements and shooting at just the right time.
Yeah. What game do you think of when I say helicopter boss?
To be honest, like, helicopter triggers me and I immediately go Grand Theft Auto.
Really?
Yeah, I know. And so I'm right now, I'm just thinking of, you're getting chased by the police, you're on top of a building, and you're trying to shoot down a helicopter.
Yeah,
you know,
that's when it goes from, I could probably get rid of my stars, but then when you hear the helicopter, when you hit 3 stars, this is now more involved. I could shake.
I'm in
the
this
helicopter
from the long haul.
Yeah. I could shake the helicopter by hiding under something, but this is.
Basically, you've had to get out your car because you've stolen a car or a bike, and somehow you got thrown from it, and you're still alive. You've managed to pick up like the armor vest, but you've got like 3 health.
Yeah.
But the armor over it, and now you've got to helicopter, you're on top of a building. For some reason, you manage to glitch out the police officers actually coming up to where you are, and they're just shooting you from the street. So now you have to take down the helicopter. And that is, it's just like...
Yeah.
And of course, that doesn't actually have a set pattern. That is the AI just trying to find a way to get, to an efficient place where it can shoot you. God.
Yeah, they were quite vicious because they wouldn't be very accurate, but they kind of pepper you, So particularly if you're on like single digits health, you're running away and you just hear this.
Yeah, you see them in the ground as well around you. One of them definitely hit me.
When I think of helicopter bosses, I think of the annoying helicopters that are at the end of the dam in Time Splitters 2.
Okay.
There's a goal at Siberia, which is basically a GoldenEye level. Because even though it's the first level, it's one of the hardest levels to get a gold on, I think, on hard. Or whatever the ranking system was, because not only do you have to get past the cameras and all the guys, but there's a really annoying helicopter at the end that you're kind of ill-equipped to deal with. So that's my go-to helicopter boss. As well as, I don't really know why, because I didn't really play very much of it, but Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in my mind with helicopters. Again, precisely because they're annoying and, perfect thing for how to take cover. Then they go out, shoot the gun, hide, shoot the cannons, hide, shoot the cannons, hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Space Invaders, the whole hiding as well. And, ugh.
What about train? What train comes to mind?
I think initially it was the GoldenEye one.
Yeah. And you know what? Specifically, it was pissing around with the laser watch on the last bit.
My god, yes!
To get those metal strips which are across the grate, which feed in the level.
And of course, your accuracy is not great with the N64 control pad. Oh god.
Yeah, that was really difficult.
Yeah. Wow. That was a bit of a flashback there. But yeah, no, I'm actually drawing a little bit more of a blank. It's just more that you dread them and know that they're going to be there. Probably there's been a ton of PS2 games with awful helicopter-shaped polygons that have haunted me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, even when you're on the opposite end of it, when you're controlling the helicopter, which we talked about in a previous Quizzy Q&A thing, they're tough. They're hard to sort of handle. So when the computer's good at it, you just hate it even more. And I think that makes you resent it. But yeah, I think my mind is definitely going GTA for all helicopter-related dissatisfaction. So I think... What was your question? Which do I prefer or which do I hate more?
There's no prefacing it. Just helicopter boss or train level?
I'm going to say... I think I hate helicopter bosses more erratic, and I think as much as there's a time pressure involved with the train levels usually, I think I'd prefer a train level over a helicopter boss.
I agree. I'm gonna go for train level, partly for things like Resident Evil 0, the end of Resident Evil 2, Siberia 2, which are kind of based around a train and on a train.
Yeah.
Had some good times on trains. Whereas helicopter bosses are just annoying.
Yeah.
And lazy.
Yeah. I think Streets of Rage 4, there's some train shenanigans.
Yeah, scrolling.
But
train
yeah,
levels
it's just
scrolling
different. Yeah, it's not really, it's not the same as like a shooter or something like that. It's more the.
Although now I'm having flashbacks to. Excuse me. Silent Hill 4.
Okay.
in the subway. And was it Time Splitters 3 which had a level based in the subway and you could press a button to make the trains go? Time Splitters 3, Future Perfect. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Time Splitter series particularly well, I'll be honest with you.
I lose it a bit 3. I do. Yeah, I remember 1 so fondly because it just became a game of how fast you do things. 2 was the best one, and then I do start to lose it a little bit at 3.
I mean, Future Perfect, I played through, I think that was the one that I spent the most time on.
It had a good story mode.
Yeah.
There's the Buffy level, Buffy character.
There was the Evil Dead. Oh no, that was Time Splitters 2, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So there was, I think it's Evil Dead. You get the cabin, you've got the zombie deer head, but it's also a character.
That's the third. That's a Future Perfect.
Is it Future Perfect? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Good Moosehead man.
Moosehead man. Yeah, I mean, I could go playing a remake of that. Just all 3 of them.
Yeah, first one was brutal, really brutal.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, I think that's of its time as well. That's PlayStation 2, making the game harder to give you less stability, but also it drew you back. You wanted to play it because it was so irreverent in its time. Monkey plagues and all that sort of stuff.
yeah, but it was the first one was really different because it was you're racing against the clock.
Yeah.
Which that concept
Time
kind of got
splitters,
dropped. Yeah, exactly. And that concept kind of got dropped with the second one. But yeah, I mean they're all good in their ways. Maybe they'll ruin it with a remake or a re-release.
Right, okay. So we agree. Helicopter
Yeah.
bosses are more annoying. Definitely
Yeah.
take a train level over a helicopter boss.
Yeah, we go for train level. Tetris or Snake?
Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Look, you said that as if you got a big take about Snake.
like, Snake was everywhere because of the Nokia phones. I disliked Snake, because it just became one of these ones. Because I used to do these long trips, from Portsmouth up to Glasgow and stuff like that. And if I didn't have enough batteries in my GBA or whatever, or in fact Game Boy Color, I would play Snake, and you get good at it, to the point where you're like, oh, don't turn in on yourself, but it's I don't know. I think with Snake, perhaps there's a level of PTSD, whereas with Tetris, it's different every time, and you don't need to. I mean, maybe my head isn't as into it, or I don't have enough of the tips, tricks, and all that sort of things. And I think there's a lot more to Tetris in that fashion. Plus, better theme tune than Snake, which is nothing. So I'm gonna say Tetris because it's more fun than Snake.
Mhm. Yeah. And both have had their expansions and variants over the years. So there's many cooperative snakes, for example. Or
yeah, if I was stuck in a
snakes.
situation where I have only got browser games or some horrible flash games, or you're on your train Wi-Fi and they've got some free games and the only thing you can choose from is Tetris or Snake.
Yeah.
Which is the sort of shit they'd be doing. It would be a green animated snake and he'll have a smiley face. Or there'll be a fake Tetris where all the blocks are coloured and solid or whatever. I will choose Tetris over Snake every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because with Tetris, you've got different levels, you've got different points, you've got different things that can happen depending on the type of Tetris you're playing. Whereas with Snake, it is play it till you die, and that is it. Like, there is an end point where you're just going to be a big spiraled snake, and then you'll eventually hit yourself.
Yeah, when the only thing you got to navigate is the one square that isn't Snake on the screen.
Yeah.
So you're just doing it all by memory, basically chasing that one dot around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. There's no. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's less like degrees of playing Snake well. Right, you're either playing Snake well or you're not. Whereas Tetris, you can fuck up and recover.
I mean, the only thing that comes with Snake is where the dot appears. You know, so if the dot appears in a really, really bad location, you then have to spend your time making sure you get it just right, and you have to perfect the timing of the turns so that when you do turn the snake, you are actually, folding in on yourself at just the right time. And I don't know, I find that less engaging than the random factor that comes with the different shapes of blocks and how you handle them. Not everybody is like constantly getting perfect, Tetris drops.
Yeah.
You'll end up with messy Tetris bits and holes that you have to try and get rid of,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, I definitely prefer Tetris over Snake. Yeah.
I've got a Tetris take. So I've been playing Tetris 99. So occasionally they have a competition and you get some skin that's related to some new game coming out on the Switch, which is a nice excuse to be like, oh, I'll go, because you have to earn 100 points playing Tetris 99 online. So if you win a game of Tetris 99, you get 100 points and you unlock the skin straight away. But most of us, 98 people aren't winning their first Tetris, by definition, and so you have to play, I'm not especially good at it, so I have to play a bunch of matches to earn 100 points to get the new skin. But one of the things I don't like Tetris is the advanced tech, because sometimes Tetris 99 has daily challenges, because of course, why not make Tetris games as a service? And so occasionally one of the challenges will be like complete lines with T-spins. I don't know if you've ever T-spun in your life before.
Is that where you manage to put the loose bit of the tetrahedral underneath something?
Yes, you're not just dropping blocks. It's you drop it and spin it to fill a gap you shouldn't have been able to fill normally. And for me that breaks the purity of your Tetris. It's like when you play chess with somebody and they start busting out all the castling and stuff like that. So, no. Don't want your cheaty advanced tech.
No.
Purity in the original.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the whole Street Fighter. You're managing to do some kicks, but at the same time, you've pressed back to charge up, your next big super move as well. I don't know why I'm drawing that comparison. It is next level. I'll give it next level. But it is in the game, and it was in the original game as well, so I think...
Was T-spinning in the original game?
Yeah.
Wow. I just don't understand how it works. My brain can't... Perhaps I'm at the age where I just can't take in that.
Yeah. You've got to the point. There's no more new knowledge allowed in your brain. You're just along for the ride.
Too ingrained in my own bad habits to learn like a minor piece of new tech in a game which I've played.
Do you ever feel that statement there?
Yeah.
Too ingrained to learn new things. Do you ever find that? I'm not necessarily meaning in life, because that gets getting a bit dark. But no, I mean in games and things like that. It's like a very sort of cliched example of it was when I used to play Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And I would play it on hard level, but I could never get to expert. And it's basically because I struggled to use my pinky when I play Guitar Hero. And I mean, it's, I'm sure many people do this because it's hard to move those two fingers independently, and it's hard to even train them to do that. But I made the effort to try and start using it a little bit more, and that's what got me to be able to use and get to expert level in Guitar Hero and things like that. But I don't know, I think I was quite content and happy playing the game with the three fingers, and occasionally I just drop back to it. That is comfy land, whereas the pinky is pushing it just a bit too much as well, and it hurts after a while. It's like, I mean, I know, like, there are guitar players. I'm talking about Guitar Hero, but there are similar things to that. Like, even when using WASD, like using the keyboard and mouse, I struggle to use my pinky. It's like, I don't know why pinky suddenly become the mainstay of this this metaphor, but yeah, like, I struggle to use shift or control, and when I see people doing it, it's just like, wow, I cannot do that. So I have to find other ways to do alternative keys when I'm using mouse and keyboard, which is why I have like the big control pads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, but there's other things as well. Like, I know in fighting games, I enjoy doing combos, learning how to do a fireball, great. And then you watch somebody playing it and you're just like, oh god, right. That is somebody who's spent like a solid 2 to 3 months doing nothing but maining one character and knows the twitch sensitive movements, and you're just like, I'm not going to do that. Like, and I think even if I did do that and spent the same amount of time as that person, I still don't think I would be as good at it. I think there's just a point where it's just like, oh, tone it down. I think I've touched on this before because we were talking about the fighting games one on podcast number what, Farley?
The fighting games one.
Yeah.
What was it? Do we call it Fight Night?
No, I think it was just round one fight.
Fighting game.
But yeah, like, on these kind of fighting games, I enjoy playing them, but it's there is a whole different level to fighting games that you either have to just like choose one series, one genre, one even game iteration, get good at it, do the Conservatory Kings, and then just sort of move on and realise that you're not going to be able to apply those skills to any other game. And I know, like, there are arguments like, oh, Street Fighter 4, you've got exactly the same moves. Like, no, actually you don't. Like, you taking Street Fighter 2 and the combo system, the accidental combo system that exists in that, it is not the same as being able to play Street Fighter 4 or 5 at the same level in any way, and it's just the same with the Tekken series. Like, I loved playing Tekken 2, where you had those ridiculous moves where you just do, like, you grab them, you pull them, and then you do a wrestling move, and then you press another key combo and you do that. And that's all stuff like I read from a magazine. I'm not going to use it, like, it is, I don't know, it's a tough one, and so, I've lost the thread a little bit.
Fighting games was 10-2, aka 12.
Okay.
Round one fight episode, season 1. And I know what you mean. I think it's the difference between, or it's involved with training and practice.
Yeah.
So mostly, I've just started a couple of new games, and for the first time through, I like to try and work things out myself. And then when I get to the credits, I'll look up, things that I'm missing or the best way to do things in all kinds of games, be it fighting games or RPGs.
Yeah.
But in doing that, I think you mentioned the word comfort. You get used to kind of what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then that's really, really hard to shift. So it's this, and then particularly in fighting games or Smash, for example, when you're on the back foot, and I guess this is the difference between a bad player and a good player. When you're on the back foot, I get so lazy and then just basically end up spamming two moves. Right? There's no repertoire. There's no trying to do this. I might just something weird psychological goes on, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna
panic and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump into my down A, and all your other moves just leave your mind.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing with practice.
Yeah, and in Smash especially, it's just like sometimes you're just like, I want to get that up an A spinning sword move, and I want it to land. So I'm going to redo it over and over.
I'm going to do it again, and I missed. I'm just going to do it again, which is just readable and awful and whatever.
Yeah.
I was having the same with I put Pokken Tournament on the other day, and I played it on the Wii U and really liked Pikachu. Have a couple of kind of not really combos. It's kind of sort of combos of moves or strings of moves.
Yeah.
But they're not optimal, and you watch. There's lots of tutorial videos out there, which is Pokken's quite swingy. So basically, it's like, if you get a hit in, you should be doing this combo or this combo. Both very long combos to do maximum damage. You might mix it up because one of them gives them a debuff, or one of them earns you more meat or whatever. And all of that is just beyond me. I'm like, no, I'm just happy with the little toolkit which I developed myself. You look up the move list, and for me, it's like 5 button presses and more. I can't remember that. There's no way I'm remembering that. I'm just gonna stick to my 4 buttons and under, or do this throw and then do this throw and then do this, and it's I guess it's the difference that training and practice makes, right? And so a lot of these top players in various different games, particularly things like fighting games which need your reactions rather than kind of min-maxing with RPGs, is just you either with a friend or in the training, you make it muscle memory. You pull off that annoying combo where you have to get the timings right when in there.
And
over
yeah,
and over
choosing,
and over and over
yeah,
and over
choosing
and over
to
and
make
over and
that
over and
muscle
over.
memory, that's the thing. It's just like,
Yeah.
I do I want to do that? And it's like, but there are other, like, it's not just the fighting games as well. It's like action games when the story has decided you've unlocked a new thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, right, okay, what do I need to do the thing? And like, you'll accidentally do it. And you're just like, I used to just double jump anyway. Now it's a double jump and shoot. Oh, what the hell? Right, okay. So you get a little bit stuck in different ruts, I think.
Yeah, I think it is laziness because I've played enough games and I know enough about games that I'm not the worst player in the world. But again,
I think just actually, sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I think it's quite similar to what causes the game choice paralysis as well. Like that fear and thought of the new and unknown and how it's going to change. It just makes you like, I don't want to do this because, or maybe you don't even have the skills that you need. Like, and when I say skills, I mean like actual spells in the game or something like that.
No, but I do sometimes worry if I'm going to start a new game and I don't have very long to play it. I'll be like, that won't be enough. It won't be enough for me to remember. Yeah. I'll have to restart it, or
exactly. It's like, I just want to play this for an hour and a half and then come back to it at another point. And another point could be a month later, where you don't quite really remember everything. And I've got that with Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't come back to play it because I've started pissing about with Greece over just to put a timestamp on this Q&A thing. But yeah, so it's like it's a tough one.
It's the same. I was thinking about. I think maybe we talked about this the other day. with Mario Kart, I have like a racing line that I've developed. Again, quite good at, from playing online, sort of better than average, but nowhere near the top. But over the first, I don't know how many times I play that game, those racing lines are ingrained, So even though I know there's a shortcut that you should take every time, if it's like a shortcut I didn't discover for a while, or it's one that I find quite tricky, I would avoid it and I'll do my normal, essentially stick to the same line, or with some of the really hidden shortcuts or the DLC levels.
But with those shortcuts, there's risk and reward as well.
Yeah, but if you just practice enough, then you can always pull them off. Okay, I need to be drifting here and.
I would say that. Like, if you take your racing line, you're going to be more guaranteed. Let's say you're 99% of the time you're going to get there and you're going to be fine. Whereas I would say that the percentage drops a little bit because there is going to be something that's slightly more difficult in those jumps. Even if it's just like the timing of the jump.
No, because you make it, you make it muscle memory. Because there are arguably like quite difficult routes which I take in some levels. Which I can get, almost every time, or quite early on when you fucked it up. And then there are other ones. There's one of the DLC levels. It's called Ice Raceway, which has the two tracks which kind of cross over each other.
Yeah.
And there are two shortcuts there which I didn't spot for a long time, where you kind of have to go off the track and over the ice. And I'm just in. It's a bit like when you were talking about Resident Evil Zero the other day, Resident Evil Remake the other day. It's like, no, those are different, new and different, and I can't.
Yeah, I mean,
my mind can't handle it.
I was kind of drawing the comparison to like probably the SNES one, and I'm thinking of just Ghost Valley, that very very obvious shortcut where you have to have a mushroom and you get the jump, and then you've got to just turn almost immediately. Like, there's always a chance, just even slightly, you're slightly off on timing, even a little bit, so that risk is higher, but you're going to do it because it's more fun to try and pull off that jump. And I think there's a lot more of that in the N64 version as well. Like, there's stupid jumps that you could do. I mean, obviously there's the Rainbow Road one, which is just cheating. You just land half the course ahead of everybody. But yeah, like, I don't know, I just feel like in the fray, if you stick to your racing line, you're probably going to be better off than risking a shortcut. Because with the shortcut, there's so much more that can go wrong. And I think that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, and in analogy to what you were saying last week. No, sorry, the thought's completely gone out of my mind.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I've remembered now. It's why increasingly I'm happier with turn-based games.
Yeah, I know. But then they go chess on you, man. They do. They go chess on you. They introduce staggers, and you're just like, oh my god, right, okay. So I need to remember to do that thing so that I can do that thing, and then I can finally do my fireball. You know.
I mean, I will say, if a game particularly grabs me, I think it makes me feel exactly the same as a good book, right? So if there's a book that you're not particularly into, or you have to read it for one reason or another, and it's on the nightstand for months and months and months. Whereas a book that really grips you, you just blast through completely. And I think it's the same with games.
Yeah, so you just need to have something that really sort of it trains you as you're playing it, and you become more engaged in there. I mean, like,
I think if you're enjoying, fundamentally, if you're enjoying it more, then you're learning it more. You're willing to kind of expand your moveset rather than if it's a game you're really slogging through.
Yeah,
that's when a lot of these bad habits kind of kick in, or shortcuts kick in, or like, I'm not.
Or indeed, if they just add too many things in, you're just like, oh yeah, R1 does this. I've just played this game entirely without using a slide. It's like
there are a couple of video games where
you put yourself in a hard mode because you forget that you've got a heal.
Yeah. Or if I just play really offensively, I don't have to remember what the parry and the block buttons are.
Exactly. That's a very, very good way of putting it. Just like, as long as I can take this enemy down fast, I wouldn't need to worry about,
Yeah. And then I can just save my finger have to be up in that position, save remembering the combo for those, and I'll just invest all my chips into playing hyper offensively and
just put all the points and strength,
and then they throw a boss at you where you absolutely have to, and it's kind of fucked.
The higher stamina you have, the less he has, and you're like, oh fuck.
Okay, I have to learn how to block or recharge.
And then there's oh man, I was just thinking of Last Remnant, where even when you do sort of hyper focus your teams on one stats and things like that, there's a random factor comes in as well, and sometimes certain things don't happen, especially with a lot more games nowadays. It's just like pressing A doesn't necessarily, especially in turn-based, mean that you're going to get your fireball off. You might get a crit, or you might get a miss, or that sort of stuff. And you just have to have all of the mechanics in your mind as well, which can be mentally draining as well. And that's why probably on a subconscious level it's just like, I am not pressing that button with my pinky, because otherwise this game becomes hard and I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Well,
what
was the question?
Tetris or Snake?
Tetris.
I think hands down Tetris. Even with the sneaky new tech, which has been around forever, which I will never engage in because it's retraining my brain in a way that can't handle it. I'm too ingrained in the way I played Tetris for 20 odd years. But yeah, Tetris wins the day. I keep looking at Tetris Effect, and then I talk myself down because it's just another Tetris. I've already got how many Tetris games, most of which I don't play. I don't really need another one, even though it's really supposed to be quite good and introduces new different things.
Yeah, it's like me with my Steam collection of fighting games.
Yeah.
Like, I always think, this looks like a fun one. This is like a spin-off of this one, and the cool anime characters. I'll get into that one. No. You'll just have it on your list, Richie. Stop fucking buying them. Yeah.
I
was like, and of course Steam thinks I love them. It's just like, oh, by the way, did you know there's a new Guilty Gear? Do you want the new Guilty Gear? You're like, oh, go away, Steam. No. But
then you buy Guilty Gear Collection.
Yeah.
And never download it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we didn't get through many at all, which is good because we got.
Well, I think 3 was the staple. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. Because we talk too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. We've learned something about each other. I've learned that you've never touched a Call of Duty or a Battlefield.
Did you learn something about yourself, Farley?
I did. I learned that the GoldenEye train level really got its claws into both of us quite deep. To still be affecting it. I can't tell you the last time I touched GoldenEye, let alone played that level. But
I know.
Yeah, it was the first one that came to mind with me as well, was running for that fucking train and then faffing around with the watch right at the end.
Oh God, yeah.
Anyway, that guy is a quiz.
Oh God, you just gotta be careful. Why do QUIZ me?